Yay, we're recording. Hi,
Ha-
everybody. Emily, welcome to my first ever podcast. Woo!
Happy to be
And we're
here.
celebrating Valentine's Day. Look at your awesome tree back there. I know
All the
you guys
love,
love
all the
this.
hearts.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, this is my first little podcast. I'm really excited to have an old friend join me, Emily Buckley. Our mothers went to college together, and we have memories of visiting. And I remember getting you out of school. I remember your
Yeah,
mom driving us in Cincinnati and just like flooring, the gas pedal as we go over these hills and all of us screaming in the back seat. So,
yeah.
I just remember us having a blast, and it's great to see you today. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing. You're still in Ohio.
I'm still in Cincinnati, and I have that same vivid memory of you guys bringing us out of elementary school as a surprise when you would come to town. Um, I'm currently working as a life coach here, so helping people make decisions for impact to live as great and wonderful and awesome as they want and achieve their goals. So I'm a marketer, I do social media, I do event planning workshops, all that stuff. So thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay, I'm so excited. So, I have been obsessed with storytelling. And we connected because I thought, wow, life coach, you must have so much information to share with people, right? And how to build their
Mhm.
stories. Just to give a little bit of background, like I've been a recruiter. I listen all the time, and I love asking questions. And one of my first questions I usually ask people is, tell me your story. Well,
Yeah.
a few weeks ago, someone flipped it on me, and I was like, I have no idea where to start. And I know that it is, you have to be mindful of your audience, but I wanted to have you on today to share with us, how do you build a story? How do you know your audience? What suggestions do you have?
And I think that's an interesting concept because people sort of like you are deer in the headlights, like my story, like, what do you mean? Like, I'm an accountant or I'm
Mom,
what? Yeah, no, that's your title, but that's not who and what you are.
right?
And so I do hold workshops with people to help them with this very thing. And one of them starts with a writing prompt. And I encourage anybody to do this. So if somebody says, who are you? Turn on some music and just start writing. And so we've done those exercises, and people would say, I'm a mom, I'm an accountant, I work in a library. Like, no, those are things you do. I want to know who you are. um, I'm compassionate. I'm a team builder. I'm a communicator. I'm a problem solver. So I want to get to those skills, which then help people get to the right job. Um, as an example, the last position I found, I've worked in every sector. So I started in nonprofit, I've worked in corporate, I worked in public and private education for 13 years, and then I was ready for a change. And people say, well, what do you do? Well, I mean, I've been a fundraiser, I've done marketing, I've done social media, but that wasn't my approach this time. And so, related to you talking about, how do you tell your story? I crafted a blurb that was, I like to work in teams, but I also like to be independent. So I like to brainstorm together as a group. I like to find solutions to problems that nobody's thought about yet. So I crafted it as the things that come naturally to me that I like doing. And maybe there's not a job title for that yet, but maybe somebody sees something in me that they want on their team. And so I focus on how you can be the best team player and provide something to an organization. And I threw it out to the universe, to my contacts, to people I knew. I wasn't going in applying for specific jobs. I was working my own network with, here's what I love, here's what fuels me, here's what I'm passionate about. I'm good at these things, but it also keeps me up at night, makes me want to work harder and get things done. And that's actually how I found my most recent job.
That's really cool. So when you say you put it out there, did you do a video? Did you write this story? Like, how did you promote yourself in that way?
So a little bit of everything. So like I said, I wrote this blurb. I posted it I'm in a bunch of different networking groups,
Okay.
from trainings I've been to or alumni groups from leadership things I've attended. And so I wrote it. I put that out there, in public. I was saying it and I was consistent, which I say for people is the most important thing. Be consistent and authentic when you're asking for what you want and when you're telling people who you are, and then it just flows out of you. So I was doing in person anybody that I would meet. I wasn't keeping it to people I knew. Caveat, you don't want to sound desperate. And I wasn't desperate because
Right.
the best way to find a job is already having a job. So it was just me talking about me. And you need to have examples ready. When people say, well, demonstrate that skill. How did you do XYZ? And so I have a good story for you related to when I was fundraising. So I was raising money to build a playground, an inclusive and accessible playground in one of the schools where I worked. And so I had an event that day, and it was the end of the day, and I'm sitting at a bar having a drink and having dinner. And I just started talking to the person next to me because, like you, I'll talk to anybody and I want to know their story. So I'm chatting with this person and he's asking what I do, and I say where I work. Well, turns out he graduated from the same school. So there's a connection. And I said, I'm building this playground and I'm so excited. Like, kids in our district are going to be able to be in a wheelchair and be on a swing and be able to play with their classmates and their friends. And anyway, this is maybe a 15-minute conversation with a stranger. And he says, well, how do people support it? And I'm like, oh, we have a website and, people cash check, credit card, whatever. And he's like, you take credit cards? And I said, oh, yeah, I mean, we can take anything. And he literally throws his credit card across the bar at me and says, run it for $500. And I'm like, what, wait, what? Now, funny enough, I had the Square credit card reader in my purse because I was coming from an event. And I said, are you kidding me? What, why? And he said, well, A, I'm a graduate of that school and I feel like I should give back. But B, your passion for this, I can just tell how excited you are and how lit up you are about this. Like, you make me want to give you money. So I get a $500
Wow.
donation from a complete stranger because A, I was prepared, I had my Square in my pocket, but B, I had a story and I was ready to tell the story. So, like you said, storytelling is a game changer.
Yeah, I love that story. I mean, yeah, not many people have a square in their purse, but
Well, there was that.
but I love that you had that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's perfect. Um, so I heard a lot of things,
Okay.
but tell me, like for me, as I'm practicing my story or I'm sharing, with some of my friends, how to build that. I heard like, right, it's what I do. It's what I do well. It's bringing in passion. It's bringing in that, ability to show, um, that I really have this kind of cohesive idea, right? And that I'm passionate about it. And you mentioned like be ready. What is that? You had a 15-minute conversation, but when you say be ready, is that like a minute? Like do you give like write down a couple sentences and then do you memorize like 1 minute's pitch or
So I think I don't memorize things because people
okay.
can tell that sounds kind of robotic,
Yeah.
but practice is the key.
Okay.
So I would practice with my friends, I would practice with my colleagues, I would practice with family members, just constantly saying what you're looking for. So you have to be intentional,
Right.
you have to be authentic, and you have to be
Consistent.
prepared. Yes, and consistent. So
Okay.
one of the things that I think is something that just immediately tells employers this is not my person is when they say, so what are you looking for, what do you want to do, and they say, oh, I'll do anything. Okay, well, great, we have a janitorial position and we need someone to clean the toilets. Like, is that what you want to be hired for? Probably not. So you need to know the things you're good at, and if you're not sure, I mean, most people know what they're good at, but I surveyed people. I sent something out to my whole network via email and social media and said, hey, what do you think my natural talents and gifts are? What am I good at? Because you might have a blind spot to something that you don't realize that you're good at. And then I wrote that down. And writing is sort of a tool that I use because it sticks in your brain rather than typing. Even like I've got my pen right here, I've got my little notepads here. So writing commits it to memory. So that's part of that practice. So
Okay.
defining what your skills are, what your natural gifts are, and then marrying that to what you actually like to do. Because you might be really good at something, but it might not be your passion and not something you want to go into in your next step. So it's a lot of self-awareness and self-development and understanding what gets you excited, what makes you want to continuously learn about. And a lot of that is being really vulnerable, talking to everyone and anyone you've ever interacted with. I went back and talked to people that I had worked with in past jobs and said, kind of, what do you remember me for? What was great? What was not so great? And really writing a list and making a list and then looking at that and thinking, okay, where could I employ these talents and really make an impact and a difference?
Mhm.
And practicing, repeating it, writing it down, knowing it. And you'll know, I tell everyone I know, like, this isn't going to lie. So, like, I could be telling you something, and if it's not true, dead giveaway, like, you're going
Right.
to see it.
The blank. Yeah.
Or it's just not going to match your cadence,
Yeah.
your rate of speech, nothing. So, they're going to know.
Right.
So a lot of the hardest part is before you ever get the meeting, before you ever get the interview, before you ever meet the person in the elevator that you realize is a connection to somebody, is to do all that pre-work and really understand what you're looking for, what you're good at, what you're naturally talented at, and what you want to do for the next 2 to 5 to 10 years.
Right. Now, I feel like you've given us like some good steps to start with. Really listening to yourself, writing
Mhm.
that down, practicing. Obviously, it would be great to have a life coach,
That's
you know,
right.
to do that with. I'm such a fan, and I believe in that process. Tell us a little bit about your business. How does that work for you, and how does someone schedule?
Yeah, so I think people are used to therapy, and so they're not sure the
Okay.
difference between a therapist and a coach. So we don't prescribe medicine. I'm not giving you answers to anything. I'm helping you determine answers to things. So I'm asking the hard questions that you're going to answer. So I have an Instagram account. It's Get Living Guru. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can DM from there, and we can schedule, an introductory call to see if I'm the right fit because I might not be the right kind of coach for you. So we do a discovery call. The good part about COVID and the World Wide Web is that nothing has to be in person anymore.
Right.
So it's online coaching. If they're local to Cincinnati, I can certainly do in person coaching. Most of it's online. And so it's a weekly session for a minimum of 6 months because you can't really see really
Change.
dramatic change any shorter than that.
Hmm.
And so it's a weekly call, and then you have access to me via messenger and text and email in between times. I give homework, so you will be held accountable. You will have some homework to do,
Right.
but I'm really an accountability partner in helping you discover the answers to the questions you're asking. So
Right.
I'm just forcing you to dig a little deeper, be uncomfortable because that's part of it. But yeah, so Get Living Guru. I'm also on LinkedIn, Emily C. Buckley. You can message me there. More to come. I have some workshops I'm putting together for the coming year. So I'm really
Great.
excited. And yeah,
Great. Well, hopefully we'll have you back. I mean, I really appreciate your time and breaking down the story and giving us examples of doing that. I'm currently, working on my story as well as I evolve as an entrepreneur, figuring out all my different passions. I have like three right now.
booming.
Woo!
Yep.
But yeah, thank you so much. Okay, what is the IG account again?
It's Get Living Guru
Get
because I
Living
want to, yep,
Guru.
Get
So
Living Guru.
much fun. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Emily. This has been great. I
Thank you.
appreciate the steps that you've given us and would love to have you back on my little podcast in the near future.
Thanks for the opportunity. And everybody get out there and get living.
Yes, yes, yes. And happy Valentine's Day, too.
Yes. All the hearts, all the things.
Let love guide you.
That's right.